Racing Addicts are back again this week, post Chicago Street Course and lots of sprint car dirt happening. So I am trying to say something different than welcome back, because I know that's what I say every week. And the people are rioting. They're rioting in the streets, Mitch.
We're going to have like every edit of every time you said it since day one, and it's going to be like a 5-minute long welcome back.
That would actually, you know what? That's my new project. I'm totally
There's
doing
a new
that.
project.
That's brilliant.
I knew you would.
I actually love that idea. So
yeah.
So unfortunately, I am all by myself again. David got held up. We were hoping he could be free, but he's got some stuff going. And we may have a special visitor joining us in a little bit, depending when he gets off work. I texted one of our good buddies, Kevin, at the last possible second, because just kind of seems to be how life is going right now. And so he is going to try to join, but he made no promises. And I told him the door is wide open. So come on in. We got a camera ready. Boom. Look at that. It's all ready.
There's Kevin.
So if we get a Kevin, he's going to hop on a mic, throw on some headphones, and we're going to have him join the conversation. But how are you doing today, Mitchell?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Just been pretty productive recently. Just, getting some stuff situated with MSM services. So things to announce here soon with that.
I like it.
But yeah, I'll have to show you what's going on with that right now. But things are good. And honestly, I thought we had a pretty good weekend of racing. How about you?
Oh my gosh, totally. Yeah. It is insanely hot in Pennsylvania right now. Like even on my standards, it's pretty dang warm right now. So I'm like, even with this air conditioner running like full high everything for the last 2 hours, this room is still like a little bit sweltering. But I'm good. I'm very good. And we had a lot of good racing. We had a lot of good sprint car racing. We had a lot of sportsman racing. And then I'm happy to be wrong. But I dogged on the Chicago Street Course, and I feel like we had a really good weekend there, so I can't complain. Yeah. So I guess we're going to kick it off. I did not have time to make show notes because I was planning on us recording later. So the first bit of news that we had dropped this week, I'm just going to go in chronological order here. Josh Berry is going to the 21 car next year. Thoughts right out of the gate, Mitch. What are you thinking?
I don't know. Since the Briscoe going to the 19, I've kind of pictured Barry with the 21, but it's good to see him get another shot. I do think he can get that 100 to win for them. I believe Josh Berry could be it. But yeah, I'm not sure if he was the best candidate for that car maybe right now, but I kind of was hoping to see him like race for Junior and him getting a charter. Just some kind of dramatic situation where Junior gets the charter and Josh Berry's on it.
I could see that. Yeah, that desire. Who did you think was going to land in the 21 car?
Well, honestly, I thought Briscoe would have been not a better choice, but I guess I felt like because when he was with the 98 car, that small team, he did really well with it or whatever it was. It was a part-time deal, and that's what got him noticed. He won at the Roval.
Yep.
And I just think him and small teams, I think really niche well together. I don't know if it's his dirt track roots or what it may be, but I just felt like Briscoe would probably feel like a better fit. Not saying Josh Berry would have been better in the 19. I don't see him as Joe Gibbs at all. I do not see that working out at all.
No, I don't think he has the personality to do it. Like it's just, I don't see the mesh.
Put up with it.
Well,
he's not. Yeah, maybe that's what you meant by personalities.
Yeah,
but yeah, they clash. It's just not. He's like, I believe he's a blue collar guy, right, from Carolina or wherever he may be.
He has that feel and that vibe to him. You know what I mean? Like, and
he's
I just
too mature for Joe Gibbs racing.
I would 1,000% agree with that. And honestly, like, I'm curious to see how Briscoe does there, because even that feels weird. Like, I don't know
feels
that
like Joey in the 20 kind of vibes, which it just don't seem right.
Yeah,
a little bit.
It's kind of what I'm thinking. Off. And he's driving over his head now. I don't see that changing. Like I kind of said that some of the dumb stuff we see out of Briscoe right now, I feel like it's just going to be copy paste.
I was going to say him or Barry. I didn't know who you were talking about there for a sec, because they both ran full throttle on the wall this weekend. I think twice. So
multiple times.
it was a lot. But as far as free agent goes, yeah, I don't really know who I would have put in the 21. I do really feel like Briscoe would have been a good fit just because of the small team time. Well, actually, no, even Justin Haley, man. Like, honestly, with that equipment, I think he could do damage.
It sounds like he was maybe the top candidate, but he is loyal, and I applaud that.
Yeah.
Like, I massive respect for Justin Haley, because from what I understand, the opportunity was presented, which, again, that 21 car has come out of the same shop as the last two champions. So, like, it's not a bad car. And apparently he had the opportunity, and he just said his thoughts were, hey, Rick Ware gave me a chance when no one else did, and I'm sticking with him. And I have a lot of respect for that. Justin Haley, I feel like, went up a few notches in my book after that, because it's really hard to turn down a Team Penske car when you're driving for Rick Ware. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. And honestly, I don't know how much money Rick Ware put up or what it might have been. No, I don't really know what the circumstances, but it is pretty cool that he shows loyalty. We don't see that in the sport too often. It was more like brand loyalty was bigger back then. Like Jeff Gordon made his own, branding in the 24. Every driver kind of stuck with their team for quite some time. Edwards was with, Roush. I mean, that Roush crew was with each other forever. So, but it's definitely cool to see loyalty, and hopefully that's a trend moving forward. But I know how business is; it's tough.
Yeah, and it's hard, especially in a competitive market. But I'm excited to see it. Rodney Childress is apparently interviewing his crew chief. I really hope they make a good decision and just migrate. I think you've got a really good duo there. And selfishly, for a guy that roots for a Team Penske driver, having Rodney Childress part of that organization to me is like +5 or whatever scale you want to go on. So, like, selfishly, as a Ryan Blaney fan, I really want Rodney Childress to go with Josh to the 21, because I mean, it's not that Penske's been bad, but I feel like he's going to elevate that program even more. I mean, bringing that kind of knowledge in.
Yeah, I think so. And honestly, hasn't he been working with them on the 62 car? Or has Josh Berry been...
a lot.
I can't recall if he's doing his own thing. But yeah, so they're already working together. The chemistry's there. He has an interview. I'm sure he got the job with his resume.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like,
I don't think he needs an interview.
I think
you just hire him.
I feel like the Wood brothers have to see that and just go, okay.
We got a good... you got a good leader there. I mean, I feel like who's going to be actively involved now is Jack Wood, the young Jack Wood, right?
John, right?
Wood.
John. I'm so excited. So excited.
Yeah, so I just think that's good leadership there, and it brings a new perspective to the team, a fun, more relatable perspective, right? Because he's not like a lot of these owners are just old and like, this guy has a personality, and I think he's raced like one race or something. I don't know. He has some kind of record.
He ran the Truck Series for a year or two, and then the Busch Series for a year or two. Because I was actually a John Wood fan back in the day when he was running trucks in Xfinity. Yeah, he ran the number 50 truck and then the 47 car, and it was whatever. It was Busch back then, but in the Xfinity Series, I was a John Wood fan. So
wow.
And then when
he was awesome.
When he was running the Wood Brothers social media a couple years ago, when they were just like super sarcastic all the time, that was all John Wood. So, like, that's the personality that's now running that team from a management level. And it's exciting. I just think it's going to be great. And sorry to Harrison, but you ain't it, bro. So
I think he'd do really well in Xfinity, though. Harrison, I know we rag on him a lot here, but I do think, I mean, he has wins in the Xfinity Series, so I think he could build off of that, but these Cup cars are not for him. I think he's going to need a whole new generation, because it doesn't fit his style, and it's not a bad thing. Obviously, it's a disappointment. You're in Cup and you're not running well, but like sometimes it just doesn't fit your style. And honestly, these Cup cars are not normal. I as much as we want to say it's an all right car at some tracks, but it's just not normal compared to most race cars and how it races.
It's literally its own animal. Like the way you drive off the right rear instead of the right rear. Like it's just, or the right front instead of the right rear. Sorry, I can't talk.
And I really think the only thing that's really compatible with this car is road course races in IMSA. That's really it, because you saw Joey Hand this past weekend.
That's true.
Looking phenomenal. So just for his credit, but I do think he can find a place somewhere.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It could be the next Justin Allgaier competition down there in Xfinity, having your full-time, long-term successful Xfinity drivers. So Moving into Chicago, I'm going to jump us all around. I'm sorry. This is what's dangerous when I'm hosting. But let's just bounce right into yesterday because I feel like we have so much to unpack from yesterday, and I want to make sure we get to that. I know you're kind of on a time crunch.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I mean, I'll start with the race rating this week. I think management level, there's some serious work that needs done. Like NASCAR's ability to screw up management it's bad. It's really bad. There was so many calls made. But from a racing standpoint, from an event standpoint, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. I was way surprised in a good way this weekend, and I feel like credit where it's due. I feel like they tried to throw away the event a couple times this weekend, and they still got it in. So I'm excited. I'll go 8 out of 10 on the weekend.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty solid one. I think I was surprised on how exciting it was for all races there this weekend, but just Cup in general was very. You didn't know what was next. You know, it wasn't predictable.
It's very true.
And honestly, when Larson and SVG wrecked, I really thought like the race was going to get boring. But the rain element, man, that thing throws in such a great element, and how slick the track was. I think that made it awesome. And I'll give it a 7 out of 10 because I think if it wasn't for the rain, I think it could have been a 4 or 5 for the Cup. But the rain really threw it in for an element, and I the words came out of my mouth during when I was watching the race. I said the following words, that we are currently watching probably the best short track race of this year, and it was on a track that we've been no longer one in the sport, right?
Yeah.
And here the words come out of my mouth. This probably might be the best road course race this year, if we don't get any rain anywhere else. Obviously,
yeah.
I think the Glen with rain could be a phenomenal race.
I mean, I'm all
those
for
words
like.
Came out of my mouth, man.
I think install sprinklers at Richmond. I think we're onto something here. Like the race, but it's good. And again, like credit to NASCAR where it's due, because I know we dog on them. They let the teams manage the strategy with the rain tires.
Listen to our podcast. That's what they did.
They did, and like I have to just. We give them all the crap, so I feel like we have to give them credit when it's due. I thought it was great that literally right from the beginning, it was like, pit road's open, do what you want. Or even like literally at the beginning of the race, they gave the teams the option to like change tires if they wanted or if they didn't. And I think they heard a lot of the feedback after New Hampshire, took it to heart, and I just credit where it's due. Brilliant. And look, if they would have held the team's hands like they did at New Hampshire, look at the dynamic that we would have lost in that race. Like
huge dynamic.
That's what got the Alex Bowman win, to be honest. Like that's where it came from. He had speed, but he didn't have winning speed. And you added the strategy and the driver element, and here we are. So it's 10 out of 10 on that management. I thought that was great. 0 out of 10 on scheduling freaking races where you have to be out at 8 p.m. and Monday's not an option. Why in the world are we throwing the green flag at 4? That is like the dumbest decision in the world. That's my one mini rant on the weekend. I had to say it. 2 p.m. Move it up 2 hours. Give yourself a buffer. Holy crap. I don't know. Am I crazy? What do you think?
No, you're not crazy. You're spot on, to be honest. But what I'll say is that it's absolutely bullcrap that we have to put up with no logic whatsoever. No one. Like if we can think through this, you would think they could too. Right. But obviously, they're showing us that they're so ignorant to the point where nothing makes sense logistically with scheduling these races. And I was like, well. I would rather have just Amazon buy out the rights to NASCAR, like in all the television broadcasts for the next 10 years. And I say this because think about Amazon. What network do they have to follow?
Exactly. They have so much of an advantage when it comes to that.
And I'm sure they can make another server. They have billions and billions of dollars. It doesn't matter what. They'll put it up. They'll make it work.
It's the beauty of streaming, and it's why we're going to have the future.
Right. And I think we're going to have a 1 p.m. start time next year during that stretch at some point. And I really hope Dover is in that stretch because Dover 1 p.m. start times are not too bad.
They're not. And then we can get home in a decent time because I would like to make it to Dover.
Home before 8.
Yes.
We can get home around 7. and have dinner, you know?
And it's so I completely understand. Like I actually do sympathize with the slightly later start times because you get to engage the West Coast and the East Coast. But you have to, especially after last year. Like we had this issue last year where we ran out of daylight. So it's like you're a year later, like we should have learned all this, but yet we're still doing the same dumb things. Like, so even perfect case scenario, like weather is 75 degrees and sunny all day Sunday. You still, if you get like some long green, white checkers or something like that, you're still going to be pushed on time because they literally had a 4-hour window to do an entire race. So you are like one extended red flag or whatever weird. If there's a weird situation, I trust you, NASCAR can come up with it with their bad luck. Like,
yeah,
I just don't understand how you don't allow yourself more of a buffer. Like, especially, I think the $10 million is what they spent on this track. I think that's the number I heard. And that's not including what they paid the city of Chicago to be there. So, like, you would think if you're that heavily invested in an event, why in the world would you make your day, your one day, your one shot to pull this off so stinking tight? Like, again, start it at 2, give yourself a 6-hour window, then you're great. But oh my gosh, dumb.
But you know what? You think about it whenever I don't mind. I think it's dumb. Don't get me wrong, especially with all those guidelines. But the thought of having a night race and on a street course and a cup race would be pretty cool.
Dude,
think about like the streets of Miami or something at night.
How much fun would that be? Like
it would be incredible. And honestly, you know, the people watch and yeah, I mean, honestly, my friend was talking about it. It's like, well, why don't we just get a hotel near the track? Yeah, you might spend an extra bit, get like 4 people to split it with you and just watch it from the balcony, you know? But either way, I just think it would be cool to see a night race and a street course. I think that would be
wonder,
really cool,
I mean, that would have to be expensive, right? Because you bring in those light towers, but you would have to bring in like, 100 light towers? Like
you would, but
it would be salty. But it would be cool. I mean, the environment, I think, would be awesome.
Yeah. And then you have like a rally cross race before that or something. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I mean,
but it's an idea, but I agree. They need to move that up. But, you know, schedule comes out this week, I was told. So maybe things will change. I
heard that too, and I'm anxious to hear what's on it. I have had a change of heart. I see so much value in the street course race, and I hope that idea is here to stay. I don't know that we need to be in Chicago much longer. Like, I'd be great if...
No, we don't need to go back there for a bit.
But the idea of it, I'm on board. And I was not on board a year ago, but I see the value in it. I see the different element of racing product that I feel like they've learned a lot of stuff. Like, I'm on board. Now, give me one a year. I'm fine. Like, I feel like this weekend filled up my quota. I enjoyed it. I'm great. I'm ready to not do another street course for another year.
I agree. And honestly, Long Beach during that West Coast swing, I think that'd be a pretty cool street course idea for a bit until they come up with something.
I kind of like that idea too.
Since Auto Club's not even here, it could happen. That could be a thing next year. But I think we're going to Mexico City or something, but that's for another discussion.
I just don't, hey, whatever. Like I said, I was wrong this weekend. I've been wrong before. Maybe I'll be wrong again, but Mexico City, I'm out. There's a lot of thoughts actually out on Sunday, but in the world of NASCAR and officiating and decisions, another point of credit that I have to give, obviously we knew at a certain point that the end of the race was going to be in jeopardy. So right out of the gate, they said, hey, 8:20 is it. Like, we are not racing past 8:30. At 8:20, we throw 2 to go, blah, 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 all that. Thank you. That is brilliant because now you can't control the variable of the rain. You can't control the variable of when the city's going to shut you down. But what you can control is letting the teams know what you're planning on doing so that no one's like pissed off. You know, like strategies are still there and an active race still happens. So like I just... Again, we give them a lot of crap, so I like to give credit when it's due. And I thought that was a brilliant decision. And I hope moving forward where we know that time's going to be an issue, let's just keep this same model. Like New Hampshire would have been another great example where you're like, okay, like 7:45 is our cutoff. So at 7:42, we throw 2 to go, or whatever the metrics are. I love it. Let's just continue down that path. I thought 10 out of 10 on that decision.
It was pretty cool to see because honestly, just to think about NASCAR when they made the decision with Eric Almirola leading. Hey, Bell, it looks like you're going to be there in about 11 laps. Yeah, 10 to go.
That's a real punch in the face.
It is. But, props to them.
Can we start doing the Eric Almirola Daniel Dye jokes now? Because the Daniel Dye jokes are always it's a real kick in the balls. So can we now make the punch in the face jokes with Eric Almirola? Is that? I feel like we've reached that point, right?
I think we have. He'll swing his way over to another team.
Hey, I'm not sure if swing his way,
not, but swing his way. There we go. But yeah, I mean, it's just silly, but it's good on NASCAR for showing some transparency and some maturity in that decision.
100%. I am all in on that. So I mean, we had so much chaos. Like we could sit here and cover every wreck and be here for another hour and a half. I liked that good drivers were making mistakes like that. That was kind of cool. Like, I mean, Kyle Larson nose first in the wall. Denny Hamlin spun about 45 times. The SHR cars minus Noah Gragson were half of the accidents. Like, clearly the line between fast and over the edge was very small.
You're right. And say that line. Say what you just said again about Noah Gragson.
The one non-SHR car, or the one, sorry, I'm going to butcher this. See, the only SHR car not hitting everything was Noah Gragson, which is fantastic because we remember last year.
Fantastic. Yes. The Wendy's turn 6.
So last night, I should find what he tweeted. He tweeted last night like turn 6 conquered or something like that.
Yeah. Yep. And honestly, it was sponsored by his car, so it all worked out. But yeah, when you said that, I was like, wait a minute, I didn't even realize his other teammates, I think they all hit the wall full throttle twice, and he decided to just not hit anything, which was awesome. Talk about maturity and prosperity. Well,
Josh Berry was aiming for walls like it was going out of style. I'm telling you, dude,
Harrison Burton 2.0.
Oh.
We gotta start this.
He did. I'm sorry. He did turn 6 with the handshake emoji, but very, very.
That's funny.
And it's all that needed to be said. It was perfect. I loved it. Fantastic. Quick thoughts. We're going to keep moving through the race. We got to talk about Alex Bowman breaks 80 race winless streak, gets to victory lane. I feel like everyone was pretty excited to see that. We did have the cool down lap incident between Bubba Wallace and Alex Bowman. Are you offended by it? Do you think it's just good the way it should go? Is it something that should be looked at? Like, where are you at on this?
This is where things get canceled, right? No, I'm just kidding. Well, this is how I feel about the situation. I like entertainment. Regardless, I'm glad there's talk and a storyline. But when it comes to what Alex Bowman is saying, he's being so nice about it. And I feel like he's protecting Bubba. That's what it feels like with his comments. Because I really think deep down inside Alex Bowman's pissed off. Like, I don't know if it's real what he's saying. I think he's just saying so because you know how things get. Have you read the comments? I read every comment about the situation, and it's not good.
They're not pretty. They're not pretty.
It's not pretty. And then it's same with Haley Deegan's situation. It's probably just as bad. It's really bad.
Equal, for sure.
Equal. Yeah. And I have a feeling Alex Bowman's just trying to not have anything controversial, not make headlines. Because 1, he's on a contract here. 2, he got to win, so that looks good on him. But you just need that stuff going on right now if he's trying to renew a contract with Ally, right? And I say Ally because you're technically you're contracting with a business. Except Hendrick has so much money he can fund your own car if he wants to.
Because who cares?
But that's how I feel about the situation. It just seems fake. Like not fake, but Alex Bowman is protecting Bubba. That's what his comments.
I mean, that's a valid point. And I'll say too, I've seen the comments and I do think people have gone a little insane. Like I see the call for a suspension and I think it's dumb. Like So my opinion, I think it was a dumb move. I think the optics on it are horrendous, but and Jeff Gluck feels like NASCAR needs to step in and do something, which kind of surprised me. I don't think NASCAR needs to do a thing. To me, this was dumb, and I think the optics that come from it are penalty enough. But that's just my thought. I don't know if you feel like it should be a steep or something.
If you look at it from a safety perspective, I can see why there'd be a penalty because it was cool down lap, and we were watching his in-car camera when it happened. Whole world saw it.
Yeah,
and he he had his visor open, wiping his eyes. What if he got hit and poked himself in the eye and he couldn't see? I mean, that could have
sure, and that's a valid concern. It's a valid concern.
But as far as like the comments, I did say every comment from a boomer was saying NASCAR needs to be equal to everybody. They need to suspend Bubba Wallace for doing this action because that's what Carson Motorsport had. We didn't have a suspension, but a point deduction. I don't see a suspension. No, by any means, but
not even
maybe
a little bit.
10 points. I don't know. Maybe a 5 point. I don't know what it would be. I can't recall it leading up to anything. I don't know. I mean, I heard that Alex and had beef, and they showed a clip of the Roval, and I was like, oh, I was at that race when that happened.
Oh, really? I had honestly forgotten about that until I saw the clip.
When he threw his Gatorade all over his face while he was dehydrated. I'm like, that was a really bad look.
Speaking of bad optics.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think it's needed, but I could see why. I don't think it's needed though. I think we need to keep the fuel to the fire. And I think Bubba will. I don't think it's going to end there. I don't think it's going to end.
No, I don't either.
Bubba's pissed.
Yeah, and honestly, as a race fan, my guy's locked in. So Team Chaos, bring it on, baby. So I'm all here for it. And I don't know. I don't think NASCAR needs to step in. If they do anything, slap them with a $10,000 fine or something. So you said you did something because I do get the safety concerns. I feel like there is something there. I don't know.
Well,
I don't want to go.
You think about.
Don't want to get too hard on it.
No, we don't want to. I just think about Richmond too, and I remember Bubba and Kyle Larson's situation. That looked pretty odd, but Bubba's been kind of fiery this year with everybody. It seems like, and I don't know if he's frustrated with what, but
he's got to be frustrated at performance, right? You would have thought he would have won by now this year.
Well, Reddick could have 3 by now, and that's not because of. It's not because of he should have 3. No, he could have won 3.
Yeah.
Bubba, he had some speed early on, but he really hasn't had the consistency. The 45 shows up every week. I mean, 23 is hovering and he's fast at some tracks, but the 45 could win a lot. And performance definitely, I think, is getting to him. And with Bowman winning after he made a situation more difficult. Yeah. So it doesn't help.
It doesn't.
So I love drama. Let's go for it. Leave it all on NASCAR.
And honestly, if Bowman and Bubba are not battling for the last spot in the playoffs, I don't know that Bubba is quite as pissed, but literally those cars were only 2 or 3 positions apart in points. And now Bowman's
had
locked.
A good day.
Yeah. And now Bowman's really locked because he jumped up. I got to double check points, but
he's in.
Yeah, and he's been consistent enough that honestly he jumped a handful of the drivers that were already locked in because he's just like Daniel Suarez. Bowman has had a better season, so obviously he jumped ahead of the 99. So yeah, I'm good with just leaving it as is. But his team afterwards had to be dude, just you're killing us. Just don't
just be classy. You know? Just
and go up, hit his back bumper, do something to let him know that you're angry. But I think it was him putting the 48 in the wall that was where he stepped over the line. So and it's everything before that I think is fair game. That's racing. But yeah, you're right. It was. It's bad.
Could you imagine Bowman drives up like SVG and just starts doing burnouts around him?
Oh my gosh. He was trying so hard to do burnouts and it just wasn't happening.
Reddick almost had it, man. I was hoping Reddick would get there, but it's okay.
Yeah. And I know he's hard on himself, but
he didn't need to be that hard.
No.
That was to the point I was like, dude, go eat some McDonald's, you'll be all right. Get a Happy Meal.
Well, the hard part is Reddick was in that position because he was driving 110%. So it's when you don't win the race because you're driving 110%, it's kind of hard to be hard on yourself.
Right.
Because he was cutting off 4 seconds a lap, I think they said is what it was.
We're Joey Hand has a shot. Oh, Joey Hand doesn't have a shot.
Hey, gone.
Is that Reddick?
Hey, gone.
Whoa, Reddick's 0.6 away. And I'm like, gosh, like I just wanted to see what would happen because
it was going to be real close, like real.
It was
close.
going to be a push shove, and there was going to be some like imagine Reddick wrecking him, and then so Reddick wins, and then Bubba comes over and KO's 48 afterwards because he's pissed. So you have a 23XI like KO basically, and Bowman just throws like the outcome could have been crazy different.
The next 3 weeks of commercials were already written, ready to go. We just needed it to play out.
The next 3 years. Like, come on.
And then they would have fined Tyler Reddick for it, right? That's the... We're going to use the footage and you're going to pay for it.
Yep. That would have been funny.
It's so good. Was there anything else in the Cup race? I think that's all I had as big discussion points.
Yeah, that's really it. Other than I'm sick and tired of like whatever the calls are going on the 17. When you go down, when they pit right before that first stage, and then they to take different tires so they can stay out and get some track position. They then again come back down pit road on that stage caution, and they did the same thing towards the end of the race. I'm like, what are we freaking doing? And then we wreck ourselves, and I'm just like,
yeah.
Do we need to?
Well, and like the 7 had some real speed too, so it's kind of like why
the last 3 weeks he has.
Yeah,
what are we doing? You
gotta close it out, and I just don't know what's missing. I'm
not listening to the like in-car audio, but I don't know what the conversation's like, but it's I don't want to know. I'm sure our buddy will know.
I'm sure your audio would have been entertaining listening. What the?
Like what are we doing?
Yeah. Well, the selfish bias moment. I mean, the 12 they went, and it's a crapshoot. Like you don't know, but they went the wrong way on the early strategy, and then the strategy was good, and Blaney drove his butt off and ended up P10 on a day where they ran 31st most of the day. So I was
not bad.
I was selfishly kind of excited. Did you see the amount of miles that they raced yesterday? Did you get to see that stat?
No.
Shortest NASCAR race ever. 127 miles.
Are we happy? Are we all happy? I'm okay. It was a good race.
When you have a small time window and you start late and it rains, like that's what's going to happen. So that was just crazy. Hey, new stat, right?
Was it Beetlejuice? Is that the girl, the mayor who came up with that idea?
Oh my gosh. I think Beetlejuice is gone, right? Yeah.
Beetlejuice been gone.
Someone just clicked off the podcast, but I don't even care. It's funny.
I can't go down that rabbit hole. I'm sorry.
No, I mean all of it is accurate. Xfinity race, phenomenal, just incredible.
Lap 1, crossover. We're passing in zones we can't pass. This car is hard to handle. People are self spinning. We have great racing everywhere, and this is a street course, something we don't even like.
Yeah. What else phenomenal. You say? 10 out of 10.
Practice was phenomenal.
Yeah. I think the part of the Xfinity race that stuck out to me the most was after like 3 or 4 laps of Larson and SVG just basically throwing sliders on each other. SVG slides by him and then gives him the thumbs up.
Right. It's just good racing.
Yeah. He's like there was instant recognition of like, okay, this guy's really good. Like, and we're both having a lot of fun. And I love that because that's pure. Yeah.
That is, I think a lot of people have like the hype of SVG, but the fact that he can just continue to back up his quality and his charisma to the sport, he handles everything very well. He shows emotion. He hides most of the emotion and is sneakily kind of, tacks on how he wants to race. But he races aggressive to everybody, which is awesome.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, it just phenomenal show that they put on Saturday. Him and Larson and the whole. And even Ty Gibbs, he was throwing himself in there.
Ty was really good. Speaking of Ty Gibbs, interesting moment halfway through the race. He was apparently in the wrong gear and was like 10 mile an hour off on pit road speed. Cole Custer passes him and then gets penalized. I thought that was a weird call. I didn't think that was the right call.
I did not catch that. Wait, you said in the race?
In the Xfinity race. So
that's how he got pushed back.
That's how he got pushed back. Yeah. So apparently Ty was in first instead of second, and he was obviously doing his lights off of what they should be, but he was 1 gear lower. So
it's weird.
He was going so slow that Custer finally just passed him, and then Custer got sent to the back for passing on pit road. And I was like, I thought there was a provision where,
Custer got sent to the back. I thought
Custer got sent to the back.
Oh,
for passing Ty Gibbs, even though Ty Gibbs was 10 mile an hour under the speed limit, and that.
Well, did he go to the right lane?
He went to the correct lane. He went left, which on this course is the correct lane because
you're supposed to be on the further sides of the wall.
Correct. Which would have been the left this week. So
there should be no penalty.
I think that was a missed call, from what I can tell.
Who was in the tower?
We'll have to ask the committee. I don't know.
That doesn't make sense to me because I get it if you're on the right side or wherever the side where people are pulling in the pit. Yeah,
no,
that's a safety hazard. But if you're on the left and he's already kind of maneuvering over, or he just kind of shoved him, I don't know. I didn't have to see a replay, but that just seems it seems like another bad call by NASCAR.
Yeah, it was. The track leadership was a little rough this weekend, but right. It was just weird. I just saw that and I was just completely confused at what he did. Worth mentioning, one of our favorite drivers, Connor Mosack, was in a JRM car and on the last restart took out his teammate Sam Mayer. So, you got to have the drama in the things you love. And one thing you can always depend on with Connor Mosack is he is probably going to wreck somebody. And he didn't disappoint. So I don't know if you got to catch that, but it was a note I had, and I thought it was worth bringing up and mention. So,
yeah, I did not see that, but that doesn't surprise me. So I'm pretty head on with that. So.
Some things just line up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But otherwise, just a lot. We had drivers getting mad at each other. We had drivers just straight out racing and loving every second of it. I thought it was I just thought it was great. I legit enjoyed Saturday. I thought Saturday was phenomenal. And it was just fun to see. We had a lot of good. So, did you see Allgaier's practice crash?
I watched it live.
Oh.
I saw him sit there and I was like, wow, car's still going pretty quick. And then, oh my gosh. I laughed. It was just like, what the heck just happened?
How? I just don't. I don't know how you missed that. It's 30 seconds later.
It was over. Why wasn't the caution out? The guy stick his hand out the thing and flagged the flag? They almost took their hand off a few times.
You would think a local caution had to be out, right?
Something's got to be.
Spotter must have been in the bathroom or something. I don't know, but that was one thing that
taking a shot with Freddie or something.
That's what it was. That's totally what it
Probably was.
Oh, saying bottoms up. He knew Brett was at the track, and Brett doesn't come very often, so he's like, well, better. Might as well take advantage of it. I love
my deep dish pizza.
Yee, boy. But great race in Xfinity. Awesome. I love the respect that has been gained between SVG and Larson. To me is really fun, and I'm enjoying watching that. You can tell they both just I think they're both kind of the best in their respective worlds, and then they come together and they can just race the poop out of each other. And it's just
SVG awesome. Can do something that there's something about SVG that he can do that Larson can, which is hard for Larson to say. He could do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But SVG
You're not wrong.
Not saying he can't do it, but I think he just does it a little better than Larson right now, which is very rare.
Well, yeah. Absolutely. They're both kind of that freak. You just put them behind a wheel and you're like, oh, you can pull that off. That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
And the niche is street courses, because I do think road courses, Larson might have the equal advantage, but street courses in general, just SVG kind of knows how to maneuver through them.
Yeah, I was shocked how quickly he weaved his way to the front on yesterday on Sunday.
Confidently. This is a track that anybody should be confident at. He knew exactly with his car controller confident, and especially with that Xfinity car, he knows how to make that thing control, even though it's a beast.
It's super duper impressive to watch them run, and I'm really curious to see where SVG lands next year, because I'm a little bit I kind of want to see him do another year in Xfinity and let Zane Smith have a shot in a Trackhouse car next year. But I'm hearing rumors both ways, so it could be interesting.
He could be Cup. I mean, he's in his 30s now. He's about the same age as Josh Berry, 34, 35. I think he already has 3 wins this year, dude. He's going to have 5 probably if he wins all the road courses.
Well,
like he does.
You're right. And honestly, he's moving forward at an impressive level at tracks that he has no experience on. Like you look at a Darlington where that doesn't relate to anything he's ever done before. And he finished top 10, I believe, at Darlington, which is just like, that's just impressive to me. Like at your
Atlanta,
first time
he's
there.
finished like top 5 at Atlanta, and he's never been to like, I mean, he's been to these super speedways, but that's not something he knows. I mean, that's not, you can't just be comfortable with that. I'm sure he's more comfortable going full throttle in the turn 6 than he is at Chicago than he is going to turn 2 at Daytona, off of 2.
Yeah. 100%.
Like, totally different ball game. But I do think he's maturing pretty quick, learning fast, and being a good sport about it.
Yeah, I mean, his attitude is phenomenal. Like, I'm so impressed with him. I'm excited to see where he goes. I want him to do well, and yeah, it's going to be good. The last Xfinity note that I had, and this is a sad one, but I think we all saw it coming. Haley Deegan is officially out of the 15 car. I figured after Joey Logano ran top 10 in that on Saturday, I figured that was probably the nail in the coffin. But yeah, I mean, I think we all are in agreement. Like, we want to see her do something. I think we all see the potential in her, but obviously this year was just not good. Like, there was really nothing redeeming about this year. So
no, and you can tell she didn't have the confidence. She wasn't comfortable in the car, which I find very odd, because like the races she did one race last year, finished top 15 and ran top 10 almost the whole race. They had like a 100 lap green flag run, and she ran well with it. And so it was kind of surprising to see her this year just kind of stumble. But I think she needs to figure out what fits her driving style and just make the most of it. And I think she brings an important element to the sport, so I don't want to see her give up. But she's 22. She just needs to go back to the basics, start having fun again. Yeah. But I think she put too much pressure on herself. She just seems like she doesn't, like, her vlogs became very like, mad at myself. Like, she's hard on herself. Like, she knows she sucks. Like, she knows guys. Like, she knows she's like struggling.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I think it's good to part ways and to figure out something that will fit for her.
Yeah, 100%. And again, I wish her the best. I thought she was going to be like the first successful female in like NASCAR Top Series. So, hey, we'll see what happens. Hope she gets some other opportunity and can kind of build something. So, and even, I mean, drop back down to ARCA and just build some confidence, kind of start up again and see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll run. If she runs ARCA, she'll definitely run top 5 without a doubt. But yeah, I think you're right. Like, the promising thing is, like, if you, I know it's sad, but if you look at in the last, since I would say Danica's been along, so it's been 10 years since Danica raced. Like, she right now, she's able to qualify her way in on the car. I think the way it seems. Like, I mean, she can qualify her way in the trucks. Like, she'll qualify top 25, top 20. Natalie Decker's like 5 seconds off the pace from 40th. So, I mean, it's not
totally
what
different
we want,
level. Totally different level.
But she still has something there that she can still make races and run. It's just a matter of she can run top 10, top 15. That's the thing that we're trying to get to. But the expectations are high for her. So, or at least were. So that doesn't help. But we'll rebound. So.
Yeah. No, you're definitely not wrong. Moving on to the sprint car world, we had the Pennsylvania Speedweeks this past week. I believe it's 10 nights in a row of racing, and a lot of good and a lot of the same faces. I don't know if you were following that closely at all, Mitch, but
I didn't watch a single lap.
Yeah,
if anything, I know I totally forgot about it.
It's being an adult sometimes just sucks, like you just. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I didn't really watch many of it, but was it good from what you saw?
Yeah, pretty good. Now, I didn't get to see a whole lot of it either, unfortunately. It's like I felt like most of the nights either I was busy or it wasn't being streamed on something I had. You know, so I was kind of limited to like some of the Port and some of the Williams Grove stuff. But I mean, overall it was pretty good. It was cool. So Danny Dietrich won 3 races. I believe I'm getting that correct. Anthony Macri won 2 or 3. I can't remember, 2 or 3. And then Logan Schuchart won a few. And Anthony Macri, only by a handful of points, ended up winning the Speedweeks championship, which, I mean, he deserved it. Like the 39M just every night was like just crazy speed. But obviously as a Dietrich fan, cool to see him up there. It's cool to get 3 wins. And he finished P2. So, you know, he almost had it locked in. And just a lot of good. And a lot of the same players. Logan Wagner was up there a lot too. Cool to see him. And we saw there was some nights with some pretty good racing. Williams Grove is kind of just a disappointment most times, I feel like. You just can't, like, you can't pass. Like, everything, it just feels like everything's arrowy and stuff. So I'm not a huge Williams Grove fan, but overall pretty good. And I mean, it gave us a lot to follow during the week, if nothing else, which was cool. Because even like the races that weren't streaming, I was following them on Twitter and keeping up with, you know, clips and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know that there was any moment that was like crazy, because I was kind of just looking back through and it was all kind of straightforward. The other thing that we had this past cycle of podcasting was me and my wife went to BAPS Motor Speedway for the Firecracker 40 on Saturday night, and our buddy Kenny Edkin got the dub. Awesome to see. So it was his birthday, and it was his 40th win, and it also happened to be the Firecracker 40. So it was kind of cool. Like there's a lot of neat little things working together.
That's awesome. Happy belated birthday to Kenny.
Holla. Yeah, you go, boy. You go. And he was good, man. I mean, it looked really good. So he was the interesting part. And this is from a fan, so I'm not saying this is anybody in the Edkins organization perspective. I'm just going to speak as a biased fan that was at the race watching it happen. So we had really the top cars were Tony Jackson in the 88, Russ Mitten in the 77. And then, of course, Kenny in the 75. Shout out Part B addendum. Johnny kind of got screwed in his heat, had to start basically last in the A main, and got the hard charger, finished 8th. And the track was pretty tough to pass. So that was pretty cool. But sorry, I know you weren't there, so I'm just telling you all this for the first time. But
no, that's fine.
The top 3 had kind of separated themselves a little bit, where you kind of knew like the wind was going to come from them, and they were all just kind of like making laps. It looked like Kenny was conserving, and I think he said in his post race he was conserving a little bit. But the 88 throws a slider on the 77 that 0% chance of it working, and stays in it. And I do not know how they did not wreck off turn 4. Like they were 90 degrees sideways coming off the corner. Like from our position in turn 1, looking at turn 4, we can see the complete sides of both cars. Somehow they don't wreck. And then, of course, Kenny's obviously, he's running P3, so he's gaining all that time. And then going into turn 1, he kind of backs off just for a second because he saw what was going to be coming, because Mitten in the 77 was pissed, justifiably. Like, I understood why he was so mad. And he just pushes the 88 right off the racetrack. 75 slides underneath both of them, gets out to the lead, and that was it. He was gone. And I think he had the speed regardless, but there was a little bit of management. And once he got the clean air on top of that, I mean, Kenny was gone. It was an easy show. But I am judging, and again, this is just off a fan sitting in the grandstands watching and experiencing everything around me. When the 77 pushed the 88 off the track, there was a lot of cheers and a lot of fist bumps, which tells me that the actions of the 88 throwing a slider that did not clear is probably a common theme that happens a lot. Because when he threw the slider that did not clear, I saw many middle fingers. When the 77 pushed him off the track, I saw a lot of cheers. So
a little bit of everything.
Yeah. And then the 88, I mean, just, man, it's like that wasn't a dumb enough move. And he almost wrecked himself like 3 more times, like just completely overdriving the car. He cut someone off and they didn't lift, and he turned himself up into the marbles. Like it was it was it's like the meltdown out of the 23 we saw yesterday. It just wasn't good, and you're like, dude, just stop it. Like, you're gonna lose everyone's respect. But it was legitimately a great race. I thought the racing was good. It was tough to pass, but the racing was still good. And obviously for us, Kenny's our guy. So seeing him win was really cool. Seeing Johnny get the hard charger was cool. And seeing Tony Jackson take himself out of the win, I thought was pretty cool too. So can't complain. And Kevin was there too. I got to see Kevin's sexy face. So I'm never going to complain about that. He's a handsome devil. So that's completing my our chilling on a dirt road with Alex segment. And that pretty much wraps it up. I think there really was nothing else that happened this weekend, I don't think, in the world of dirt. So, but a lot of good stuff. So, I know you've got to bounce off of here, I think, pretty quick. So yeah. we'll just get your prediction real quick, because we are heading into Pocono. NASCAR's going to be right in our backyard.
Yes, Pocono. Be ready for that,
dude. You're not. I am not going to that race. I couldn't give two craps. I will watch on the TV and sleep there.
I'm not either. I'm actually staying home this year.
Oh, nice. Who's on your radar for this week? I don't even know who to pick. Like, who do you think is going to get this done?
Cup? Well, let's think about it. I can't really recall who won last year.
Denny Hamlin, after putting Kyle Larson in the wall, is who won last year.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And when he cheated with his stupid tape, and then Chase Elliott won, and then there's a few of them, but
all the memories.
I think I'm going to go with the 5 car.
That's actually who I was going to pick. But that's a good pick.
Well, yeah, I just picked him, but the 6 car was also in my head too. I just think he's pretty savvy with Pocono. Mr. Brad-Keselowski's very savvy too.
You are definitely not wrong, and David would be happy to hear that. Here, I'll put, just for good measure, there's a little 6 logo.
David.
Yeah, gotta give number 6 a shout out since David's not here to do it. Man, the 5's a really good pick. The problem is my head goes back to Christopher Bell, and
he's pretty freaking good too.
He is, and I'm telling you what, the guy's got momentum. He may not have the finishes to back it up every week, but he's fast. So, but I just picked him last week, so it feels like I can't do that. So I am going to go with another guy that's got a little momentum right now, Chase Elliott in the 9 car. I think it's going to be a Chevy or a Yoder. I'm not big on Ford this weekend. So I'm just going to take Chase Elliott. Why not? Let's take number 9. See what happens.
Yeah, that's a track that I can see him doing something with it.
He won by default during the tape year. So
yeah, and it just fits his style too, I think. But I always said the same with Kyle Busch, but he's just off.
He is.
Actually, Kyle Busch would be a good track for him. This and Indy, because he likes Indy a lot too. There's flat corners that are like this.
I'm super curious to see, like, as a driver, I'm all in on Kyle Busch for this weekend and Indy. I'm nervous about the
RCR package.
Yeah. I'm nervous about the RCR program right now. That's where my hesitation comes in.
If they're gonna win, he's gonna have to win these next 2 races. It's either Pocono or Indy. I really do believe that. Not in a bad way, but yeah.
I think pointing out is gone. I'm pretty sure. I think he's at a distance where even mathematically he's out, or if he's not out, he's almost out. So. Yeah, you're right. I think it's going to have to be a win. And like the crazy thing with Kyle Busch, he could do it. Like, we could be talking about a Kyle Busch win next week, and I don't think any of us would be shocked.
No, I don't think so. But it's a long shot from what his year has been. But I think if he's going to make the playoffs, it's going to be this next 2 weeks.
Could not agree more, my friend. Well, I will let you go. I know we're already a couple minutes past the time you had to leave. So I appreciate you hopping on, man. Always good to see you. I'm looking forward to having all of us together again, but glad to have you at least.
Yeah, that sounds good. I appreciate you letting me come on, and yeah, we'll definitely figure out something here soon.
Sounds good, bro. We'll hang out soon. It'll be fun. And thanks y'all for tuning in, and we shall see you next week on the Racing Addicts podcast.
See you guys.
I'm trying new things. They're not good. I'm sorry. Bye.
That's funny.